been so long since I've filmed anything, but we're back at it. We're gonna make that content. So today, friends, I have the tea. If you're in the convention cosplay community, you might have heard about the disaster that was Sakura-Con 2025. And as someone who was there and got to witness it all unfold, I felt that it was my duty to make a video covering this for those who are curious, and also just to like spread the word and hold Sakura-Con accountable, because there were some things that were not within their control, but there were some other things that were well within their control that they really didn't handle very well, I don't think, and most people are in agreement. So we're gonna make this video for those purposes. So for background, I've been going to Sakura-Con for 14 years at this point, and I remember back in the 2010s, it was always like the holy grail anime convention here in like the Pacific Northwest. And I just have such great memories of going as a teenager. I traveled down to Seattle. It was always like a big thing. And I really value those memories and treasure those memories. And I say this because I really want to be able to enjoy this convention and hold it to the esteem that I have in the past. But with what happened this year, I am not able to do that. So what happened at Sakura-Con 2025? So right off the bat, the first thing that put a bad taste in my mouth, if you don't know, I usually apply to be press for conventions because you get a free pass, and in exchange, you do content for them. And when you apply, you always outline like what content you're gonna do for them. And it's usually like, you know, a vlog, some Instagram posts, some Instagram story posts, all that good stuff. And in exchange for that, you get your press badge. It might not be like a one-to-one, like, you know, you're not getting paid like an hourly wage for the content. So like the value of the badge versus, you know, what you'd be paid if you were paid per hour, it does not match. But still, it's a gesture by the convention to say like, we appreciate you promoting our convention. Here's a press badge. And every single convention that I've gone to where I've applied to be pressed, it's always been a free badge. Like that is the standard, at least the conventions that I've gone to. This year, they decided to change that. So in the past couple of years that I've applied, I've gotten the badge for free. So the passes, the cheapest it goes is $70 US, and then the most expensive is $120 US. And I'll put the Canadian conversion up there. It's gonna be way more in Canadian. I applied to be press again, and they said that you would get a discounted pass. I'm thinking, okay, not like ideal, but you know, it's probably gonna be like $40, right? Because I don't know, that just seemed like a fair number, right? Like you are paying something for the badge, but it's not like outrageous because you are literally doing work for the convention, promoting them. So I applied to be press, I get accepted, which was awesome. Very happy about that. And then I wait to actually be able to register for my pass. Basically, you get approved and then you have to wait, and then like 2 weeks until the convention, they let you actually buy your pass, which is, I think, not super ideal. I go to the page to buy my pass thinking it's gonna be like, you know, a generous discount, because again, I'm doing work for them. And it is $80 US, which is $112 Canadian, which is insane because I'm, again, literally doing work for the convention to promote them as press. I wasn't thrilled about that. Anyway, but that's not even like the cheapest price that their passes go. So I could have gotten, if I had like registered really early, I could have gotten the $70 pass, paid less. And then instead of like waiting, because you have to wait quite a long time to even like have press applications be open, and you're missing out on all those early bird prices to get the press badge. So in theory, if I hadn't waited to apply to be press, I could have gotten the $70 pass, which would have been cheaper than my press pass, which again, I'm paying for, even though I am literally doing work for the convention. I was very upset about that. That could just be me. Like, I don't know other people who did press. I don't know if that like upset them, but like that just upset me. Next thing, I'm gonna keep super broad. The friend that this happened to wants to stay very anonymous. But basically, the friend in question was in contact with the scheduling and like panel department, basically got ghosted, and was trying everything to try and like get a response, get some information about an issue that she had. And she eventually like reaches out to a different department to see if they can help, because she's not getting anywhere with like the current department that she's trying to message. Gets an email back that was like the most, like, it was really rude. It was a really rude, very unprofessional, very mean email, accusing her of things that like she didn't even do. It was not an email that any professional organization should be sending out under any circumstances. Next was the, I guess we call it like the town hall meeting. So this is basically a meeting that the convention had so that people could bring forth concerns that they had that they felt were not getting properly addressed through email. Two of the main concerns that people had that they brought forth at this meeting was legal names and dead names being put on badges. When you register for your badge, you will put in like your full legal name and then your alias. And you'd think that like they would print the alias on the badge because like the whole point of an alias is to cover up your legal name and have that privacy. But what they do is they put your legal name and then they put your alias underneath. So I don't even know what the point of like putting an alias even is. But like obviously for safety, people don't want their legal names shown. And you know, especially if you have like a dead name, like you don't want that on your badge. And then people are being told if they covered their names that that was against the rules and they could get their passes revoked. So this was something that was brought up. The other thing were their ADA standards. Sakura-Con doesn't have the best track record with accessibility. This is a huge concern for people, as rightly so.
Hi Sakura-Con, it's me from your newsletter. There I am at the rave. So while you're busy patting yourself on the back for including me, a disabled, because you're so diverse, you handed me an Uno reverse card and I'm gonna use it. And if you care about disabled people half as much as you pretend you do online, you're gonna listen to these next 5 demands. 1, you're gonna remove the giant red sticker from our badges. 2, you're going to have signage around your con to point to first aid, quiet rooms, and tape in busy areas for blind people so that they can navigate. 3, an ASL interpreter on main stage events. 4, having actual ADA lines and seating and having your staff actually know what that means. And 5, stop splitting your con between 2 buildings the way you do. Emerald City did it 10 times better than you. And they were in the same building. And those of you watching, tag them in the comments so that they're forced to see this.
People were bringing up these concerns, and apparently like I heard from friends, I heard from posts on social media, since like I wasn't there, but I've been filled in, that it was a very tense meeting and that the convention like representatives at the meeting were not very professional and didn't take any of these concerns very seriously. These are really important things that need to be addressed. So this led to another issue with the convention, which is like super concerning and like really messed up, I think. There's a local Seattle cosplayer by the name of Yuri who attended the meeting virtually and had some concerns coming out of this meeting. So they sent a very professional email to the convention outlining these concerns. And the email is posted publicly, like you can find it on Reddit, very professional with some very valid concerns. So that email got sent off, the convention rolls around, this cosplayer waits in, I think it was a 2.5-hour lineup, which like we'll get to that because that's a whole other thing. Gets up to registration. They made a TikTok outlining everything that happened, so I will put like some clips in here for what happened next.
Stand in line for 2 hours on Friday, which is on the lower end. I've heard most people sit in line for 4 hours the day before and things like that. But yeah, so do all that, give them my ID, and they tell me that there is a note on my entry, my name in the system, to not reprint my badge and to contact who I believe is the director of registration or membership, one of the two, and the volunteer, you know, has no idea what's going on. They're just kind of like, oh, do you know this person? And I was like, nope, I don't know who that is. So they grab a manager. Manager comes over, says, oh yeah, that's the director of registration. Takes a picture of it, sends it off. They talk to some people, I think, for 30 minutes while I'm waiting off to the side. And then after that, the VP of the board approaches me with one other person who I don't think they ever said their name, or I forgot, and tells me that my badge has been revoked for harassment. And honestly, I'm flabbergasted because, that's reading to me as, pretty textbook retaliation. And I asked, like, hey, what was the harassment? Can you tell me what the incident was? And no, nothing. They refused to tell me. And then just told me to email operations@sakura-con.org with an appeal. And that was it. And I kept pushing, like, okay, well, like, why is there really nothing you can tell me about it other than it's harassment? That's it. Which the answer was yes, and they're not going to tell me anything. And then said that there was an NDA, and that's the reason they couldn't tell me. And I tried being like, okay, well, if there's an NDA, am I part of the NDA? Like, shouldn't you be able to tell me? And then he started getting snippy with me and was like, I'm not going to talk in circles with you. Go send the email. And obviously I didn't want it to escalate, so I was like, okay, send the email. What is it in the subject of the email? Is there a template? Is there a form? Like, do I just send a cold email? And also I'm in a panel on Sunday. Like, is there any possible way that this panel or any possible way that the appeal can be reviewed before this panel happens? And which, yeah, I think he literally shrugged and was like, who knows, send the email.
Their pass got revoked for harassment because of this email, which is honestly kind of scary. Honestly, like, me making this video right now, like, I could get my pass revoked if they view this as harassment. Basically, like, got their pass revoked, wasn't able to run their panel on the Sunday. This raises a lot of concerns because this is retaliation and a very huge overreaction for something that was, like, very reasonable, I think. Like, I think that email was super reasonable. I think the concerns raised were super reasonable. And this is just like a really extreme response that really is not fair at all. The actual convention, right off the bat, registration was an absolute mess. In the past, I think like 10 years ago, it was normal for the pass lineup to be like a couple of hours. But never really like exceeded 2 hours. Last year when I went, my friends were able to get their passes within like 15 minutes and mine took 45 minutes because it was press, and for some reason there was an issue with the press lineup, but 45 minutes was like considered a long time for me to get my pass at that point. This year, the standard time to get your pass was about 4 hours. In this like not very well ventilated room. At certain points people had to like wait outside of the building. To illustrate just like how ridiculous it was, on the Thursday, pre-reg was supposed to close at 10, but they had to extend it until 1 a.m. So that Thursday rigmarole was like one thing, but then this carried over to the Friday, which is, during the actual convention. A lot of people like showed up in the morning expecting to get their passes in the morning and then being able to attend the convention during the day, and this was not possible because a lot of people had to wait like all day to get their passes. So I do have one photographer friend who had like bookings organized during the afternoon, went in the morning to get his pass, and then didn't get his pass until 4 p.m. That's crazy. So you're missing out on the convention that you are paying to attend. Sakura-Con was not like receptive to people asking for like partial refunds, even though this whole issue with the passes caused people to like miss a good chunk of the event. Convention starts Saturday morning. There is a fire at the Cheesecake Factory. So the Cheesecake Factory is right across the street from the Arch Building. There are two buildings now that are both part of like the Seattle Convention Center. So you have the Arch Building and you have the Summit Building. The Arch Building is the older one that's been there forever. And the Summit one is one that was built like just a few years ago. So across from the Arch Building is the Cheesecake Factory, which caught on fire in the morning, and that caused smoke to infiltrate the Arch Building and make its way into the Artist Alley. They had to close Artist Alley for about 4 hours. That caused artists to lose out on a bunch of business. Convention did make up for this by extending the hours, which like is honestly pretty much all they can do in that situation. So in terms of like something that they had like no control over, they really, I think, did as much as they could do. Although some people have suggested that like maybe the artists should get like a full or partial refund for their tables. Saturday night, there was a gas leak at the Hyatt, which is a hotel that's about a block away from the convention center. This caused the front entrance and parkade of the Arch Building to be closed due to the investigation into the gas leak. And while this is something, again, that was out of the convention's hands, unfortunately, the way that staff decided to alert everybody to these events events apparently caused a lot of panic. So this is another thing that was like completely out of the convention's hands, but certainly like the fallout from the gas leak could certainly have been handled better according to everyone who was there. So at this point, like, people are very much saying that Sakura-Con 2025 was very cursed. And as someone who was there, I am inclined to agree. So there's been like a ton of fallout since the convention has ended. People saying that it was cursed, memes going around, all that good stuff. But most importantly, people have started a petition to get the current chair to step down. So that's the story of everything that went down at Sakura-Con 2025 and how things are currently unfolding. So like, again, it's unfortunate because, like I said, I have a very like long history with this convention, a lot of like sentimentality and all that stuff. And I want to be able to love it. I want to be able to love it as I have in the past. It's definitely a hard one that they're not listening to feedback. All these like issues could carry over to next year. Like there's just a lot of like concerns with that. If you went to Sakura-Con this year, let me know what your experience was. If there are any other issues that you knew about the convention, feel free to share those. But overall, I just really want them to do better because, again, I want to be able to support them. But like at this point, it's kind of hard to want to support them. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. But until then, Panda Faces, please be sure to take care. Bye.